What started as the worst day of my life in a Dubai airport turned into the moment everything changed forever. I'm about to tell you how my own family's betrayal led to the most satisfying revenge story you've ever heard. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the ending. Picture this. A 14-year-old American girl sitting on the cold marble floor of Dubai International Airport, surrounded by gold shops she couldn't afford to breathe near, watching her family's plane taxi down the runway without her. That girl was me, Molly Underwood, and what I didn't know yet was that my brother Spencer had just made the biggest mistake of his life. But let me back up 4 hours to when I first realized I'd been abandoned. I was standing at gate 23, watching that Emirates flight to Bangkok disappear into the sky with my mother and brother aboard, while I stood there clutching nothing but confusion and growing panic. My name is Molly. I'm 32 now and I run a successful import-export business. But back then I was just a skinny kid in an oversized band t-shirt, slowly understanding that my own mother had chosen to believe my brother's lies over her own daughter. For my entire life, I'd been the invisible child in our family. After my father died when I was 6, my brother Spencer became the golden boy in my mother's eyes. Star quarterback, perfect smile, could do absolutely no wrong. Me? I was human wallpaper, the kind of kid who could sit at the dinner table and somehow still disappear. Every broken item was my fault. Every missing dollar was something I'd taken. Every conflict was something I'd started. I learned early that fighting back was pointless, so I became the quiet one, the easy one, desperately hoping that if I was good enough and small enough, maybe my mother would finally see me. She never did. The only person who seemed to notice I existed was my grandmother, Nora, who lived in Tucson and would send me books in the mail and call me on birthdays when Mom forgot. But even she couldn't protect me from what was coming. The summer I turned 14, something shifted in our house. I'd gotten accepted into an elite arts program with a full scholarship, and for one brief moment, the spotlight was actually on me. Spencer hated it. He started making little comments about how art programs were worthless, how I'd probably embarrass the family, how the scholarship was probably a mistake. My mother, as usual, just changed the subject whenever I tried to defend myself. About a week before our big family vacation to Thailand, I overheard something that should have been my first warning. I came home early from school and heard Spencer on the phone in his room, his door cracked open just enough for his words to slip out. The trust fund, and she can't find out. Once I turn 18, it's handled. When I accidentally stepped on a creaky floorboard, he came rushing out, furious, telling me to stay out of his business and mind my own life. I had no idea what trust fund he was talking about. My mother never discussed my father's finances beyond saying we were comfortable. But Spencer knew something important enough to hide from me, and he was turning 18 in just 3 months. Our vacation was supposed to be our first real trip in years. Mom had won it through some hospital raffle, 2 weeks in Thailand with a layover in Dubai. I was genuinely excited, packing light like I'd learned to do in every area of my life, taking up as little space as possible. Spencer brought 3 suitcases. I should have known something was wrong right there. The flight to Dubai was long but amazing. I had a window seat and spent most of it reading, watching Spencer and Mom laugh together a few rows ahead of me. That familiar pang of being left out hit me, but I pushed it down like always. When we landed in Dubai, I was exhausted but completely awestruck. That airport was like a palace made of glass and marble, with lighting better than anything I'd ever seen, and gold shops that looked like they belonged in a fairy tale. During our 6-hour layover, Spencer suggested we split up to explore. He'd take Mom to look at the gold souk area, and I could check out the bookstore. I was actually happy about it. Peace was so rare in my family. Before I left, Spencer offered to hold my backpack. You don't want to lug that around everywhere. I'll keep it safe. My passport was in that backpack. My boarding pass. My emergency cash. $40 my grandmother had given me. I handed it over without thinking twice. Why wouldn't I trust my brother? I wish I could go back to that moment and shake that trusting 14-year-old girl by the shoulders. I spent maybe 15 minutes in the bookstore, used the bathroom, then headed back to our meeting spot near gate 23. Spencer and my mother were gone. I waited 30 minutes, 45, telling myself they'd gotten distracted shopping. But that sick feeling in my stomach kept growing stronger. Finally, I found an information desk and asked about our flight to Bangkok. The woman behind the counter typed something into her computer, then looked at me with genuine concern. "That flight has already boarded, dear. It's taxiing to the runway now." "No, that's impossible. My family is on that flight. I'm supposed to be on that flight." She checked again. Patricia Underwood. Boarded. Spencer Underwood. Boarded. Molly Underwood. No show. The words hit me like a physical blow. My heart stopped. My vision blurred. They had left me. My mother and brother had gotten on that plane and flown to Thailand without me, and I had no idea that in less than 2 hours I would discover exactly why. Security officers approached, asking for my passport. "I don't have it. My brother has it." "Your boarding pass?" "He has that too." I could see them calculating. Unaccompanied minor, no documents, no family, no explanation. They brought me to a security office while they figured out what to do with a 14-year-old American girl stranded halfway around the world. What I found out later, much later, was exactly what Spencer had done. While I was in the bathroom, he'd gone straight to the gate and told the airline staff that I was traveling with other family members on a later flight. Just a booking mix-up through my mother's work lottery. No red flags at all. But before that, he'd had a conversation with my mother. He told her I'd thrown a massive tantrum in the bathroom, that I'd been chatting online with some boy I'd met on the internet and was trying to find him in Dubai. He claimed I'd screamed at him, said I hated the family and wanted to be left alone forever. My mother, exhausted and conditioned by 17 years of believing whatever Spencer said, took his word for it. She didn't come looking for me. She didn't ask to speak to me herself. She thought she was teaching me a lesson about gratitude and not being dramatic. She had no idea she was abandoning her daughter in a foreign country because her son was a calculating liar. Hours passed in that security office. I had no passport, no money, no phone. My mother had confiscated it before the trip to limit screen time during vacation. I couldn't even remember her phone number by heart. When airline employees tried calling her, it went straight to voicemail. She'd put her phone on airplane mode like a responsible passenger. Eventually, they released me back into the terminal with vague instructions to wait while they contacted the embassy. I found a corner near a cafe and slid down to sit on that cold marble floor. The tears came then, hot and fast. I watched families walk by, kids holding their parents' hands, laughing, safe. A little girl dropped her stuffed bear and her father immediately scooped it up, kissing the top of her head. Such a normal gesture of love, and I couldn't remember the last time my mother had touched me with that kind of tenderness. My stomach growled loudly. I hadn't eaten in 8 hours, and I was surrounded by gleaming luxury stores I couldn't afford to breathe near. The irony was so sharp it almost made me laugh. Almost. That's when everything changed. A shadow fell over me, and I looked up to see a tall man in an elegant white robe, maybe mid-50s, with a neatly trimmed gray beard and the kindest dark eyes I'd ever seen. He didn't look at me with judgment or pity, but with genuine concern. "Young lady," he said, his English accented but clear, "you look like someone who needs help, and I believe I know exactly how to give it." Every instinct screamed danger, stranger, foreign country, alone. But something deeper told me this man was safe. He sat down on a nearby bench, leaving respectful distance between us. "My name is Khalid Al-Rashid. I work here at the airport. I am the Director of Guest Relations." He paused. "I noticed you from across the terminal. You reminded me of someone. My daughter. She passed away 5 years ago. She was 15. She had the same expression you have right now, like she was trying very hard to be invisible and hoping no one would notice her pain. The honesty of it caught me completely off guard. "I'm sorry. Thank you." Her name was Fatima. She had a heart condition since birth. His voice was soft. "Now, will you tell me why you are sitting on the floor of my airport crying?" Against every warning I'd ever been given, I started talking. I told him everything, about Spencer's lie to my mother, about how she believed him instantly without question, about being marked as a no-show while my family flew to Thailand without me. I told him about having no passport, no money, no way to contact anyone. I even mentioned the trust fund conversation I'd overheard, though I didn't understand what it meant. Khalid listened without interrupting, his expression growing more serious with each detail. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. "What happened to you is not just cruel," he said slowly. "It is potentially criminal. Abandoning a minor in an international airport, especially with deliberate theft of identity documents, is a serious matter under international law." My heart skipped. Criminal? Very serious. But more importantly, you are a child who needs help, and I am going to help you. He stood and extended his hand. "Come with me. Trust me. They will regret this." Khalid walked me through staff-only corridors I didn't know existed, past security guards who nodded respectfully as he explained who he was. He brought me to an administrative office with soft lighting and comfortable chairs, where a kind woman named Aisha sat with me while Khalid made phone calls in the next room. "You're safe now," Aisha said, handing me a plate of food from the staff cafeteria. That chicken and rice was the best meal I'd ever tasted. Hunger really is the best seasoning. While I ate, I could hear Khalid on the phone, his voice calm but carrying unmistakable authority. "This is Director Al-Rashid. I need security footage from gates 20 through 25. "Yes, immediately. We have a minor who was deliberately abandoned. Her documents were stolen by a family member. Deliberately abandoned." Hearing someone else say it made it real in a way it hadn't been before. An hour later, I saw the proof. Security footage showed the exact moment Spencer unzipped my backpack while I walked toward the bathroom, reaching inside and removing my passport and boarding pass with a small, deliberate smile. He tucked them into his own bag and walked away like nothing had happened. Then they showed me footage from the gate. Spencer whispering to my mother, her face twisting with anger as she nodded, lips pressed tight. She turned toward the jet bridge without looking back. Not once. Spencer followed, and just before he disappeared through the door, he glanced back toward the terminal with that same smile. Seeing it broke something inside me. This wasn't a misunderstanding or a moment of poor judgment. This was calculated, deliberate abandonment. "This is very clear evidence," Khalid said. "There is no ambiguity. Your brother stole your travel documents and deliberately separated you from your family. Your mother did not verify his story. This is abandonment." He leaned forward. "Now I must ask you something. You mentioned a trust fund. Do you know anything about your father's estate?" I shook my head. My mom never talked about it. She just said Dad left enough for us to be comfortable. Sometimes siblings do terrible things to protect what they believe belongs only to them. Sometimes parents leave behind more than houses and furniture, and sometimes those secrets become weapons. I thought about Spencer's phone call. My brother is turning 18 in 3 months. He was talking about a trust fund, something he could access when he turned 18. Khalid nodded. "When you return home, you should look into your father's documents. You think this is about money? I think that people reveal their true character when they believe no one is watching. Your brother has revealed his. The question now is what you will do with that knowledge." Khalid's phone rang. He answered, spoke rapidly in Arabic, then turned to me with a new expression. "The flight to Bangkok is still in the air. They land in approximately 90 minutes. I have contacted the authorities in Thailand and the U.S. Embassy here in Dubai. When that plane lands, your mother and brother will be met by police." Police? Child abandonment is a serious crime. International child abandonment with document theft is even more serious. He paused. "You have a choice now, Molly. You can let this go, arrange to simply fly home and pretend this never happened. Or you can watch justice happen. And trust me when I tell you, they will regret what they have done." I thought about my mother's face on that security footage, the way she didn't hesitate, didn't look back. I thought about Spencer's smile. I want to watch. The next 90 minutes moved both incredibly slowly and impossibly fast. Khalid's network mobilized with frightening efficiency. Dubai Airport Authority documented everything with official timestamps. The U.S. Embassy opened an emergency case file. Thai authorities coordinated with Bangkok police. Emirates Airlines received alerts about the situation. Everything was being recorded, witnessed, documented in ways that would be impossible to deny. An embassy official called to speak with me directly. Abandoning a minor in a foreign country is a serious international incident. Your mother could face investigation in both the UAE and Thailand. Your brother, though still a minor at 17, is close enough to 18 that his actions will be scrutinized very seriously. While we waited for news from Bangkok, something else happened that changed everything. When the plane landed and Thai authorities detained Spencer and my mother, they confiscated Spencer's phone as evidence. Standard procedure. And when they examined his messages, they found exactly what Khalid had suspected. Texts to his girlfriend Brittany, spanning 3 weeks before our trip. Spencer hadn't acted on impulse. He'd been planning this for almost a month. One text read, "The trip is perfect. I'll get rid of her in Dubai, and Mom will have to pick a side. She always picks me." Another, "Once Molly's out of the picture, I can convince Mom about the money. She trusts me completely." And the most damning, "Once I turn 18, that trust fund is mine. Molly doesn't even know it exists. And if she runs away in Dubai, she won't have any standing to claim her share." Problem solved. When Khalid read those messages to me, I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Spencer wasn't just cruel, he was calculated. He'd seen me as an obstacle to money I didn't even know existed, and he'd decided to remove me from the equation permanently. The embassy representative helped me understand what Spencer had been protecting. My father had set up a trust fund for both his children before he died. Total value, $400,000. Split equally. Spencer's half would become accessible when he turned 18. My half was structured differently, tied to educational expenses until I turned 25, protected and locked away where no one could touch it. Spencer had been trying for months to convince my mother to consolidate the funds, arguing that I was irresponsible and would waste the money on stupid art stuff. If I ran away in Dubai, if I caused an international incident that made me look unstable and troubled, it would be so much easier to convince a judge that I couldn't be trusted with my inheritance. My brother had tried to steal my future, and he'd almost succeeded. During a quiet moment, Khalid sat across from me with tea. "I have seen family greed before. Money does not change people. It simply shows who they always were." He paused. "But your father loved you very much. He structured your inheritance with protection. He made sure no one could take it from you. He saw something coming and tried to protect his daughter from beyond the grave." My throat tightened thinking about my father, who used to call me his hidden gem. I'd always thought it was just a cute nickname, but now I understood. Hidden from Spencer, hidden from my mother's favoritism, hidden from family dynamics my father could see forming even when I was 6 years old. "Your father believed in you," Khalid said. "Now you must believe in yourself." A screen flickered to life showing a live feed from Bangkok's airport. Harsh fluorescent lighting, officials in uniform waiting, an American woman in a dark suit with a tablet. The embassy representative, Khalid checked his watch. "The plane has landed. Passengers will begin deplaning in 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, my mother would learn that her golden son was made of something far less precious than gold." The first passengers came through looking tired from the long flight. Business travelers, families with children, an elderly couple walking slowly, and then I saw them. My mother emerged first, adjusting her carry-on, looking around with the slightly dazed expression of someone who'd just crossed multiple time zones. Her hair was neat, clothes unwrinkled. She looked like a woman on vacation, ready to enjoy herself. Spencer followed right behind her, actually laughing at something on his phone. Not a care in the world, not a single thought about the sister he'd abandoned 12 hours ago. 2 Thai police officers and the embassy representative approached them calmly. I watched my mother's face shift from confusion to concern to real fear. The embassy woman was explaining the situation, that her daughter had been found abandoned at Dubai International Airport, that authorities had been contacted, that this was now an official international incident. My mother's first instinct was defense. Even without sound, I knew what she was saying. There must be a mistake. She wanted to stay. She was having a tantrum. Spencer stood beside her, nodding, playing the supportive, concerned older brother. The Thai officer produced a tablet and pressed play. I watched my mother watch the security footage. I watched her see her son unzipping my backpack while I walked away trusting him. I watched her see him remove my passport with that deliberate smile and tuck it into his own bag like it was nothing. The color drained from her face, from flushed pink to pale to completely, utterly white. Spencer tried to speak, gesturing frantically, probably saying it was just a prank, just a joke, the same excuses he'd used his whole life. The officer swiped to the next screen. Spencer's text messages. My mother read the words her son had written. Her hand went to her mouth. Her whole body seemed to crumple like someone had cut her strings. Spencer's mask finally fell. I'd watched my brother charm his way out of trouble my entire life. Teachers, coaches, neighbors, our mother, everyone fell for his smile, his confidence, his easy excuses. He'd never faced a consequence he couldn't talk his way around. But you can't charm your way out of evidence. You can't smile at a security camera and make it unsee what it recorded. You can't explain away text messages written in your own words. Spencer's face went from confident to confused to scared in about 30 seconds. His shoulders hunched. His hands started shaking. He tried to step back like he could physically retreat from the situation, but officers were already on either side of him. The embassy representative held up a tablet, and suddenly I was looking at my mother's face on a video call. She could see me. I could see her. She looked destroyed, mascara running, eyes red and swollen, older than I'd ever seen her. Molly. Her voice cracked. Baby, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Spencer told me. You didn't check. My voice came out steadier than I expected. You didn't ask me. You didn't come find me and ask what happened. You just believed him. I know, and I'm so sorry. You always believe him. My whole life, you've chosen him over me. Every single time. She sobbed harder. Spencer stared at the floor. Dad would never have left me, I said quietly. He knew. He always knew what Spencer was. That's why he protected my inheritance, because he knew you wouldn't. My mother flinched like I'd slapped her. I could have said more, listed every grievance, every moment she'd failed me. But what was the point? She knew. She'd always known. I'm done, I said. I'm done being invisible. I'm done being the one who doesn't matter. The legal consequences unfolded over the next hour. Spencer would be detained and returned to the U.S. under escort. His case would be reviewed by juvenile authorities in Arizona for child endangerment and theft. My mother faced potential charges as well, but given that she hadn't known Spencer's full plan and my willingness to cooperate, she would likely receive formal warning and mandatory family counseling instead of prosecution. The trust fund situation would be reviewed by a court-appointed guardian. My inheritance was safe, more than safe, now protected by legal documentation that would make it impossible for anyone to touch. And Spencer had pinned everything on his athletic future. Division I football scholarship, starting quarterback, dreams of going pro. That scholarship required a clean record. This incident, documented and internationally coordinated, would follow him. Even if charges were reduced, the record would exist. Background checks would find answers. Everything he'd tried to protect by eliminating me, his money, his future, his status, was now at risk. He'd done it to himself with his own words, his own actions, his own arrogant certainty that he'd never get caught. Before I left Dubai, Khaled arranged my return home. Emergency travel documents, first-class upgrade on Emirates, airline staff escorting me the entire way. He handed me his business card, old-fashioned, cream-colored, elegant. If you ever need anything at all, you call this number. It will always reach me. Why? I asked. Why did you help me? You didn't have to. Because you reminded me of Fatima, my daughter. She was kind like you, quiet like you, overlooked like you. She would have wanted me to help someone who needed it, and you needed it. I hugged him. It was probably inappropriate. I barely knew him. We'd met hours ago, came from completely different worlds. But in that moment, he felt more like family than anyone I shared blood with. You are stronger than you know, Khaled said. Your father was right. You are a hidden gem, but you will not stay hidden much longer. The 18-hour first-class flight from Dubai to Phoenix was surreal luxury. Warm towels, gourmet meals on actual plates, a seat that turned into a bed with real sheets. I kept thinking this was the most expensive thing that had ever happened to me, and I hadn't paid a cent. When I landed in Phoenix, my grandmother Nora was waiting. Her hug was exactly the same as I remembered, strong and warm, smelling like lavender and old books. "I've got you," she said. "You're safe now, sweetheart." She drove me to her house in Tucson, not back to my mother's place. That was deliberate. I wasn't ready to face my mother yet, and Grandma Nora understood without me having to explain. A week later, my mother came to see me. She looked like she'd aged 10 years. Hollow eyes, trembling hands, clothes that didn't fit right. The polished hospital administrator was gone. In her place was a woman forced to see the truth about her family. She didn't make excuses or try to minimize what happened. She just sat across from me at Grandma Nora's kitchen table and said, "I failed you. I don't know how to fix it, but I want to try if you'll let me." "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said honestly. "Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'm willing to try if you actually do the work. Therapy, honesty, real change. Not just saying sorry and expecting everything to go back to normal." "I will," she whispered. "I promise." Spencer's fate was simpler. Probation until 21, mandatory counseling, community service that would take years to complete, and a permanent notation disqualifying him from his Division I scholarship. He ended up at Grandma Nora's too, eventually, in the guest room on the other side of the house. Our mother couldn't look at him the same way anymore. 2 weeks after returning from Dubai, Grandma Nora sat me down with a box of my father's documents. "I've been keeping these for you, waiting until you were old enough." Inside, I found everything: trust fund paperwork, bank statements, legal documents, and at the very bottom, a letter in my father's handwriting dated 1 week before he died. He'd written it to me. He knew even then that something was wrong in our family. He'd seen Spencer's behavior, the manipulation, the way he treated me when adults weren't watching. He couldn't name it exactly, but he felt it. So he'd structured my inheritance with extra protection, locked away where no one could touch it until I was 25 and fully independent. He'd even added a separate life insurance policy designated entirely to me. Not out of favoritism, he wrote, but because he knew Spencer would be taken care of by our mother. I was the one who needed protecting. The letter ended with words I'll never forget. "Molly, my hidden gem. You will face storms in this family, but you are built to weather them. Be patient, be strong, and know that your father loved you more than words can say. I believe in you. Love always, Dad." The total inheritance when I finally accessed it at 25 was $600,000, $200 from the original trust fund, $400 from the life insurance. I used it to start my import-export business, specializing in artisan goods from the Middle East. Sometimes the universe has a sense of humor. I stayed in contact with Khaled. He attended my college graduation, standing in the back row wiping his eyes. Every year on the anniversary of the Dubai incident, I send him flowers. He sends me books about business and philosophy and finding strength in dark times. My relationship with my mother healed slowly, carefully, with clear boundaries and regular therapy and honest conversations that sometimes hurt but always helped. We're not best friends. We probably never will be. But we're real with each other now, and that's more than we ever had before. Spencer works as a mechanic's assistant in Tucson now. Honest work, humble work. Far from his quarterback dreams, I don't feel satisfaction about his downfall or triumph. Just quiet relief that he can't hurt me anymore. That 7-year-old girl sitting on the floor of Dubai International Airport, abandoned by her own family, thought her world was ending. She had no idea it was just beginning. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the most incredible transformations. Sometimes being left behind is exactly what you need to finally find your way forward. And sometimes, when you think you're completely alone in this world, a stranger in a white robe appears with kind eyes and 7 words that change everything. Come with me. Trust me, they will regret this.